sure many of you guys are familiar with the Nancy Drew series, or maybe haven't even seen this movie. Well, this is a perfect example of the genre unit that we'll be studying. Here's a novel that's a perfect example of the genre unit that we'll be reading. It's called How to Disappear Completely and Never Be Found. We won't be reading this particular book, but you can check out our media center or your local library. Here's another perfect example of the genre unit that we'll be studying. It's called Inspector Gadget. This was a cartoon show that I actually used to watch when I was a wee little lad growing up, and then they actually turned it into a movie a few years ago. The classic board game Clue. I'm sure many of you guys have played this. They even have a version that you can play on the computer, and they've even turned it into a pretty cool movie that came out in the 80s. This is yet another example of our genre unit. You guessed it, my favorite genre, the mystery genre. When it comes to the mystery unit, there are certain elements, certain characteristics, or certain ingredients that make up a mystery. Let's take a look at a few of those elements now. The first item in a mystery is generally evidence. In order to prove someone did something, like commit a crime or even a murder, there needs to be facts or evidence showing that, in fact, someone did commit a crime. The next key ingredient in all good mysteries are the suspects, or the people or the person who could be responsible for committing the crime. The detective. In many mysteries, but not all, there's a gentleman or a female who is generally a detective, person whose job is to try to figure out or solve a crime. Sherlock Holmes is probably the most famous fictitious or made-up detective of all time. Ah yes, the famous red herring. This is probably one of the most famous elements to every mystery. The red herring is a false clue or a fake lead that is used to throw the reader off from actually solving the mystery. Another key element or ingredient to all mysteries is motive. This is something that causes a person to act in a certain way or to do something, or in our case, why someone would kill Samuel Westing. In a mystery or story, the motive is generally or often greed, money, or love. Foreshadowing is an element that doesn't just show up in just mysteries. They show up in actually many different types of books or novels and obviously movies. Foreshadowing is an author's or director's use of hints or clues to suggest that something will happen later on in the story. Not all foreshadowing is obvious, though. Frequently, future events are merely hinted at through dialogue, description, or the attitudes and reactions of the different characters. Last but not least are clues. Clues are the items that can lead the reader to solving the crime. For example, if someone stole one of your candy bars and you find the wrapper under your brother's seat and his face is all smeared with chocolate, his face and the wrapper are all clues that he probably stole and enjoyed your chocolate bar.